Well, hello there, and welcome back to the gardens. I am Miss Linda, and I'm coming to you from, again, the Grow Hamilton Garden near Hamilton Soda One Elementary. Should we go take a look around? Come on in. I love a good look around. That was a nice tour. As you can see, it's getting a little chillier in the gardens as we're going into our fall season. Did you notice any changes in our garden? Good. Some plants seem all right, but others are definitely changing as the weather gets a bit cooler. I've had a wonderful time this semester so far working with you by taking a closer look at the connection between food and culture. Also diving deep on diversity in these garden spaces, whether it be plant, animal, or cultural diversity. Now, we've done some cooking, we've done some harvesting, and I love working with my hands in the garden. But I must say I also really enjoy reading about the garden as well. I find that when I do things with my hands and then also follow it up with some reading on that subject, I can really deepen my understanding about the natural world and all the amazing things that I encounter in the garden. Since food and culture are so closely connected, it was really easy for me to find tons of great books that involve cooking and gardening and traditions and culture. I have lots of books today that I would like to share with you. First of all, if you're a chapter book reader, or this is a great recommendation for teachers, is we have Braiding Sweetgrass. It's by Robin Wall Kimmerer. I really enjoy this book because she's a Native American author who talks about her indigenous culture and how they live off the land and respect the earth, giving thanks to the things that are provided for them. But also, she's a biologist, a plant biologist, specifically called a botanist. She does a great job in this book by telling wonderful, heartwarming stories about her youth and her grandparents' youth and generations before her, but then also pairing that with intense plant knowledge. So I've learned so much about plants, but then also get to enjoy these really lovely stories about her family and culture. Now, I have lots more books to suggest for you today. Do you want to come check them out? I thought so. Come on. I was thinking about Pahua and Bo and all of their cooking that we've experienced with them this semester. It got me thinking about how we are pretty young when we start learning skills from our families. Skills like gardening and also cooking. Here are two books. About two different children and how they're learning to help cook at home. In this one, she's trying to make the perfect bow, and here he's making a special dish for his friends, which they've never had before. Both of these books take you on a wonderful cooking adventure, and I highly recommend it if you enjoy cooking and helping at home. All right, next up, I have a book called Fry Bread. Now, remember my book, Braiding Sweetgrass? Well, this is also by a Native American author. Fry bread is a common food in their culture. If you've never had it, it's warm and fluffy with a bit of oil and crunch. Really delicious. But what this book does is it makes the connection to what food represents in our lives other than just being things that we eat. I suggest Fry Bread. Oh, hi guys. I'm just harvesting some yellow pear tomatoes. You know, like I said, I love the hands-on hard work of the garden. And I think about the skills that I've learned, like harvesting in the garden. Many of those things were passed down from my mom when I was learning to garden as a little girl. Now, it reminds me of a very special book called Ka's Garden. This book is very special because it's about a young girl, Pahua, a familiar name, who's learning many skills about gardening from her family. This is a beautiful book that's actually written by a local author. Now, what's extra special about this book, it's besides the fact that it has a wonderful cultural connections, has many things to learn about skills in the garden and the reasons why things happen in the garden. It tells a beautiful story that's in both Hmong and English. This is a bilingual children's book. So if you want to take a look at another language and learn another culture's gardening techniques, Ka's Garden is the book for you. Hey, do you love using your imagination? What about solving puzzles or problems? Well, this is the book for you. Based on a true story, this is about Will Allen, and you're not your typical farmer. He is a former basketball player that was able to envision or imagine a beautiful garden space in an old abandoned city lot. Now, he could use his imagination and put together a beautiful plan for a garden that could feed his whole community. Now, yes, this book is about amazing gardening, but it's also about how Will and his community came together with innovation and creativity to create an amazing and productive community garden for their friends and neighbors. Check out Will Allen and your next book checkout. Well, thanks for letting me share some details about some wonderful books I've come across. All of these are available at your public library. I do have just a few more that I'd like you to check out. your lesson task this week. We invite you to find a book about gardening that also has similarities to your culture and traditions around food at home. In addition to this, we also invite you to find a book about someone who has a different cultural background than you. Use this experience to expand and grow your understanding of the way other people live. Good. Now that you've enjoyed these books, we invite you to write about your favorite parts from each of the stories. If there were any questions sparked while you were reading, please add these to your writing as well. You can also have a choice to draw a picture of your favorite parts from either of the stories. It's making these connections that are important. Like I said, our hands-on to our reading knowledge really help deepen our understanding. We then ask you to share your written thoughts, your drawings, your questions with a family member, friend, teacher, or classmate. Thank you so much for spending time with me today and letting me share all these wonderful books about gardening and cultural connections. Thanks as always, and see you next week in the garden.